So yesterday we have discussed about the macrolide antibiotics and the mechanism of action, especially the chemical properties, and also the structure activity relationships, and to some extent the parameters. Of course, the detailed mechanism of action was learned yesterday in the introductory class. So today we will come to the classification of the macrolide antibiotics with the different examples. Already we have learned this thing. So the macrolide antibiotics are classified as the older macrolide antibiotics and the newer macrolide antibiotics and many more. So in the older macrolide antibiotics, the erythromycin is one of the classical agent that is that can be given as the example, and it is one of the widely used and prototype of the macrolide antibiotic. So this you need to remember that this drug is derived from the Streptomyces erythraeus in 1952. So this is from the soil actinomycetyl, that is the Streptomyces erythraeus. So because the erythraeus, the name erythromycin came. So erythromycin is available commercially in several salt and ester forms, including the erythromycin acetylate, or it's also available as propionate and the lauryl sulfate. So all these are also available. And apart from this one, the stearate, ethyl succinate, then lactobionate and gluciphate. All these are the different salts forms of the erythromycin is concerned. So this is the structure of the erythromycin, which is containing the 14 rings in this particular structure is concerned. Then the chemistry of this particular compound is the structure of erythromycin consists of 14 atom macrolide ring attached to sugars. So 14 atom macrolide ring. So this is called as the macrolide ring. This particular ring attached to the sugars and the desomine and the cladisol. And it's a weak base. Yesterday only we have seen that it is a weak base, and the pKa ranges from 8 to 9 and occurs as a white or yellow crystalline powder that is only slightly soluble in water, but freely soluble in alcohol and the other solvents. So it is not water soluble, or it is slightly soluble in water, and hence it need to be dissolved in alcohol for the preparations of especially the oral preparations. Many excipients are there, but whereas the parenteral preparation is containing the alcohol. The solutions are stable at 4 degrees centigrade and lose activity at 20 degrees centigrade and in acidic pH. So why this is need to be learnt is, if you do not store the erythromycin tablets below 20 degrees centigrade, its activity will be lost. The antibacterial activity is more pronounced in the alkaline medium, as more of the drug is ionized form. So it will be the ionized form, and because of this ionized form, the better penetration into the bacteria. So if a drug is highly lipid soluble, its absorption is good. If it is highly water soluble, then the penetration inside the bacteria is more. Then the spectrum of the antibacterial activity of this drug it is narrow actually. Yesterday only we have learned that these are susceptible, especially the microorganisms gram positive aerobes are susceptible, and so it is a narrow spectrum, that's why, and very similar to that of the penicillins. And whenever there is a penicillin allergy is there, we can go for the erythromycin or the macrolides. So this drug erythromycin is highly effective against the gram-positive cocci like streptococci and also the staphylococci. And the other this bacilli like this Campylobacter and Chlamydia, Mycoplasma, Haemophilus, then the what you call as the Pasteurella, Brucella, Listeria, Clostridium, and Erythrocephalus. So this is also one of the drug of choice, especially in the brucellosis is concerned, and it can be very commonly used in brucellosis, especially. So the rifamycin along with the rifamycin and doxycycline, this can be used, especially in the brucellosis. So this drug makes the most of the strains of the Enterobacteriaceae are resistant to the erythromycin. That means we should not use the drug to treat the E. coli and other Enterobacteriaceae microorganisms. So in general, its antibacterial spectrum overlaps considerably with that of the penicillin G. Therefore, it is often used as a penicillin substitute in individuals' allergy to the penicillin. So whenever there is a person allergy like this, penicillin allergy, it's a type 1 hypersensitivity reactions, and rashes in the entire body will happen like this. If you are seeing a photograph, then that's why it is used as a substitute for penicillin. If the person is having penicillin allergy, then next drug suitable is the erythromycin. The antibacterial action of erythromycin is bacteriostatic, whereas the antimicrobial action of the beta-lactamase antibiotics is bactericidal. But this will be also having the bactericidal property at very high concentration. But at this time, if you give very high concentration, and all the side effects may be exhibited. So one need to be careful. Then coming to the pharmacokinetic property, yesterday only we have seen usually it is incompletely, but the inadequately absorbed from the upper small intestine after the ingestion. However, the erythromycin base and its stearate salts are inactivated by the gastric acid, and their absorption is delayed by food. So whenever you administer the erythromycin tablet in the full stomach, means after lunch or the dinner, then its activation absorption is somehow less. So therefore, the oral administration of the formulations are generally given either enteric coated tablets or more stable salts of esters like erythromycin, ethyl succinate. So these are all the stable salts which are not destroyed by the gastric acid and will be absorbed in the intestine. Then the erythromycin acetylate is susceptible to acid. So usually 90% of the drug is available as erythromycin acetylate. So it can be given intramuscular, but absorption is slow and pain and swelling occurs at the injection site. This is one of the greatest disadvantage. And the bioavailability after IM or subcutaneous injection is only about the 40 to 60%. So even after the injection also, whenever you have administered the injection, there should be at least 95 and above % bioavailability. But in this case, it is 40 to 60% only. So these are all the different concentrations of the different drugs, especially the clarithromycin, azithromycin, etc. So the highest concentration of these drugs will come in the lungs. Of course, this is a very good choice of the antibiotic. Maybe we are starting with the erythromycin. Later, we can also go for the clarithromycin and the azithromycin. And these are highly effective against the upper respiratory tract infections because the highest concentration of the drug will come in the tonsils and also the lung tissues. So it will be 13.5 or 9.2 milligram. That's the peak concentration will reach. So if you administer the tablet, which is weighing 500 milligram, it's available. BID means twice in a day, then it will be 13.5 in a given time. So the nasal mucosa also, it is good concentration is coming, because this we need to understand, because in a specific disease we want the specific concentration of the antibiotic in a specific tissue. So the upper respiratory tract infections, especially the tonsils, it's highly effective, especially. So if you are suffering from the sore throat, the doctors are going to prescribe you starting from the erythromycin, then it will go to the clarithromycin, and now it is the era of roxithromycin, and the many rhodoxithromycin and many more agents. So the particular graph indicates you that this drug is not acting below the stomach. Okay, so the remembering the small trick is the erythromycin or the other concentration will be above the stomach only, means above the stomach, the lungs are there, tonsil is there, and nasal mucosa. Of course, it's not going to pass the blood-brain barrier, and hence not effective. So erythromycin is well distributed over the body fluids, especially the phagocytes. So yesterday you have said that this concentration of these antimicrobial will be high in the phagocytes, and due to the high concentration of phagocytes, erythromycin is actively transported to the site of the infection. So that is the advantage of this drug, where large concentration of erythromycin are released during the active phagocytosis. So we need not depend upon the blood constituent to reach the site of action, because the macrophages and the phagocytes, they are going to reach the site of inflammation or the bacteria where it is present. So they are carrying the drug, and hence there is it's an advantage. So also it traverses the placenta and serous membranes, but not the blood-brain barrier. So this need to be understood very well, because it will travel throughout the body except the blood-brain barrier, whereas the placental barrier is being passed. It is 70 to 80% plasma protein bound, and it is partly metabolized in liver and primarily excreted in the bile. So yesterday we have seen the excretory pattern of biotransformation. Mainly it occurs in the liver, then it is about 60 to 70% is excreted in the bile, and the remaining in the urine. And some of the drug is absorbed after biliary action, that's called as the enterohepatic cycling, so which prolongs the elimination. That's also the increases the half-life of this erythromycin. And metabolism of erythromycin occurs by the enzymes of the CYP450 or cytochrome P450 system, in particular by the isozymes, especially CYP3A, that's the superfamily. So it is metabolized by the hepatic macrosomal enzymes, that's the CYP450 dependent enzymes. The half-lives of the erythromycin in different species are: the cattle, it is 3 hours, and horses 1 hour, and dogs and cats 1 to 1.5 hours. Adverse effects, as usual, very uncommon in case of the animals. Of course, in human beings also, it has side effects are very less, and it can cause little GI disturbances with the clinical signs of the anorexia, diarrhea, and vomiting in some patients only, not all. The prokinetic effect. So this is one of the another effect. Number one, the advantage of this drug is it will be concentrated in phagocytes. Number two, it is having prokinetic effect and may be responsible for increased intestinal motility, as erythromycin stimulates the motilin receptors. So this need to be remembered. Suppose an antibiotic with prokinetic activity, you need to write the erythromycin's name. The diarrhea is usually self-limiting and most species, but could be fatal in adult horses. So the diarrhea, what is especially in case of ponies or the foals, it is dangerous. The diarrhea also be serious and fatal in especially rodents and rabbits. That's why we should not administer this drug to the rodents or rabbits also. The oral erythromycin has not been recommended in ruminants because severe diarrhea is caused. So oral administration of the erythromycin or any other products should not be prescribed because it causes the severe diarrhea because of the impairment in the different microflora. Of course, no oral preparations are available for the ruminants are concerned, and that's why there is no question of administering. Some but some doctors, they also advise the human tablets. That should not be done. That's why we have to know the pharmacology, whether it will be orally active or not. So it may be orally active in case of the human beings, but and also in case of dogs, yes, very nicely it is acting. But in ruminants, if you administer, then it causes diarrhea or also the abdominal cramps, etc. But the one advantage is there is, we can say that the hypersensitivity reactions are not there, or they are very, very rare in case of the animals, almost all the animals. So the side effects, usually it is the GI disturbances will be there, and sometimes the jaundice may be there, and sometimes a transient ototoxicity and hearing impairment may be some of the side effects of the macrolide antibiotics. So usually the side effects of the macrolides, including the erythromycin, is the gastrointestinal discomfort, that's the anorexia, then nausea. So you can remember that GIT problem will be present, and then diarrhea. This diarrhea is very dangerous in case of the horses. And mild allergic reactions may also happen in some of the cases. Yeah, so in case of toxic doses, so if you have over chance or by chance you have administered the high quantity of the macrolides, then it may cause reversible hearing loss, just like the aminoglycosides. Aminoglycosides cause severe ototoxicity, whereas these are causing the reversible ototoxicity. And sometimes the hepatotoxicity in joint, and sometimes the cardiac problem, especially the ventricle arrhythmia. Then the erythromycin acetylate salt can rarely cause the cholestasis, hepatitis, or other thing. And erythromycin occasionally produces hyperthermia. So the body temperature will be increased transiently, and sometimes it causes the respiratory distress in foals due to alteration in the temperature homeostasis. Whereas the contraindications and precautions are erythromycin is not recommended in the adult horses, except in low doses to stimulate the GI motility, because it is one of the prokinetic, especially the rabbits and rodents are the model. And the erythromycin solutions, which are intended for IM administration, should never be given as IV route. There will be sudden collapse will be present. So especially we have to follow the manufacturer guidelines, which is written on each vial, how the drug need to be used. So that's how we need to check each and every, that's the leaflet and other things for the use. And erythromycin is a potent inhibitor of the microsomal enzymes, hepatic microsomal enzymes. It's an inhibitor. So if it is inhibiting the hepatic microsomal activity, then the liver loses the capacity to metabolize. That's why the half-life of many other drugs will be increased. So this may alter the metabolism of many other drugs. So the clinical uses of the erythromycin, especially the dogs, cats, sheep, and swine. So it is especially for the upper respiratory tract infections, especially the respiratory tract infections. Then also the concentration will be very good in case of the lung tissue and the soft tissue infections caused by the gram-positive bacteria, and also the skin infections which may be used. So this is also a drug of choice for the Campylobacter species, which causes the Campylobacteriosis, and also Rhodococcus equi in the whole, which is causing the rhodococcosis, especially in case of the young horses. Then it can be used as an alternative to penicillins for the treatment of the strepto and staphylococcus infections, because if there is allergy is there, then we need to use the streptococcus or staphylococcus, and erythromycin will be the choice of the drug. And erythromycin has not been recommended in adult horses to treat systemic infections because of the diarrhea and other complications, but can be used in small doses to stimulate the GI motility. Of course, we need not use the erythromycin because we have got many other prokinetics like the metoclopramide, which is a potent prokinetic. So the erythromycin, lactobionate, and the cyathromycin glucipate salts are given by IV route. All other sites are given by the oral route. So usually most of the preparations are the orally acting, but few of them are indicated parenterally. The dose of the erythromycin is 2 to 10 milligram per kg. Of course, the recommended dose is the 3 times daily, especially in case of corona infection, they are administering 3 times daily. And of course, so the injection is 8 to 15 milligram per kg. I am 1 to 2 times daily. And in case of cattle, it is administered as the 25 milligram per kg. Orally, it's not so well recommended, but the IM in if the animal is having the penicillin allergy. Then the foals, it is 5 milligram per kg IV. Whereas the sheep and swine, it is 2 to 6 milligram per kg once in a day. So here, by this we can see that the dosage is so different from one species to another species. And sheep and swine, it's very less, that's the 2 to 6 milligram. Whereas the poultry, it's administered in the drinking water. That is, we need to put 25 grams in 100 liters of the drinking water. So tylosin is a macrolide antibiotic obtained from the Streptomyces fridei. So it is one of the soil antibiotic, macrolide antibiotic obtained from the strain of the Streptomyces fridei, and it is structurally and pharmacologically related to the erythromycin, the brother drug. And tylosin, especially this is developed for the veterinary use for the variety of the infections, especially the mycoplasma infections, especially poultry, CRD, especially in case of poultry, it is used. It has got many type of the salts and the antibacterial spectrum, etc., and so many other drugs. So many other characteristics are same to that of the parenteral compound. So the mechanism of tylosin, apart from the usual thing, especially it's also going to inhibit the amino acyl tRNA, and development of resistance is slow and susceptible microorganisms in comparison with that of the erythromycin. And compared to erythromycin, the tylosin is little bit potent, and it shows cross resistance to the erythromycin and other macrolide antibiotic. This is a common feature. If the microorganisms are resistant to one category of the antimicrobials, the other category belonging to the same chemical formula is also become the resistance. So this is the structure of the tylosin, very similar to that of the erythromycin, little bit change here and there, OH or O groups. So coming to the pharmacokinetics of tylosin is generally, it is very similar to that of the erythromycin. And tylosin tartrate is very well absorbed from the GI tract, but phosphate salt is the less well absorbed. So tylosin tartrate, it is the form of the drug coming, and it is administered parenterally, is reported to be very well absorbed. So after absorption, tylosin is which is properly distributed into the body, tissues and fluids, except especially the brain and the cerebrospinal fluid. So all these sites will be, especially they will be entering the other parts, but not the brain and CSF. So as usual, this is main organ of metabolism for the tylosin is a liver, and mainly it is excreted unchanged, especially in the bile and the urine, and hence the especially the enterohepatic circulation occurs. So the elimination half-life means the total quantity of the this tylosin that is need to be untraceable is just in 1 hour. That's also very fast. And the adverse effects are very similar to that of the regular antibiotics, and there will be pain and swelling at the injection, and there will be little GI upset. That's the common side effect. Like erythromycin, tylosin is not recommended in adult horses due to the occurrence of fatal diarrhea. So never administer the erythromycin. So while prescribing, you should have all these things in the mind, and at least you can advise the owner if it is unavoidable that yes, tomorrow the diarrhea will occur and this is the line of the treatment. So here another thing, that's the pigs, edema of rectal mucosa with mild protrusion, then diarrhea, anal erythema, and pruritus may also be seen. This is somewhat new because how we can correlate, we also do not know. Edema of the rectal mucosa with mild anal protrusion, that is the prolapse, and diarrhea and anal erythema is also present. So the next is the clinical use. Tylosin tartrate in several infection it is used, but it is especially useful in case of the mycoplasma or contagious bovine pleuropneumonia or CBPP. So this is one of the drug of the choice, and foot rot and metritis in case of cattle, it's a classical drug, and then also the pneumonia, erysipelathrix roseopathiae, and dysentery, especially in case of the swine. And upper respiratory tract infections, that's the otitis externa, metritis, and leptospirosis is also seen in case of dogs, and chronic respiratory disease in case of poultry. So these are all the suggested side effects of these drugs. Already we have left, and some of the time the effects and side effects need to be weighed properly, all these effects, then we need to decide the drug. And tylosin base may be given IM to the dogs, cats, pigs, cattle, and the cows. So tylosin tartrate is available as the yellow crystalline powder, and it will be administered in drinking water to the poultry and swine. And tylosin phosphate is given in a premix form, especially it is mixed in the food and may be served to the swines. So the dose of the tylosin may be any type of the salts, tylosin tartrate and the phosphates, etc. It is 40 milligram per kg daily divided doses, that is 4 to 10 milligram per kg IM, especially the Udli once day. So dogs and cats 10 to 20 milligram, half the dose is enough, and it can be administered 1 to 2 times a day. Whereas for injection it is 10 milligram, then the cattle, so 25 gram per 100 liters of the drinking water. Whereas in the case of poultry, 100 grams per ton of the feed, then this needs to be administered. In case of the poultry, 50 grams per 100 liters of the drinking water. This need to be given for especially the CRD, chronic respiratory diseases. So that is one of the disease which can be only treated with the tylosin or thiamine. And tilmicocin is a semi-synthetic macrolide antibiotic. So it is like erythromycin. It has bacteriostatic against the mainly gram-positive bacteria, although some gram-negative bacteria like the Pasteurella are also equally affected with the tilmicocin. So it is reported to have very good efficacy against the mycoplasma. So this becomes the drug of choice for the mycoplasma. And it has very high affinity for the lung tissues, and therefore high levels of tilmicocins are maintained in the lungs for prolonged period, even after the single injection also. So that's a good phenomenon. And unlike erythromycin and other macrolide antibiotics, tilmicocin is a potentially toxic antibiotic, whereas the erythromycin and other macrolides, they are not so toxic. So it produces the CVS toxicity, cardiovascular system toxicity, especially in high doses in varieties of the species of the animal, and characterized by the tachycardia, means increased heart rate, then the rhythm will be changed, arrhythmia will be there, and decreased contractibility of the heart will be observed in the cardiotoxic activity. So the tilmicocin is, of course, it's one of the toxic drug, then need a lot of attention, and the toxic effects and the fatalities are more likely in some species like the swine, horses, and non-human primates, in which the tilmicocin is used. It is not indicated, it's contraindicated. Whereas in case of swine, oral tilmicocin produces no toxic effect, but parenteral injection causes the death. So this type of the things always you should remember. So suppose we are going to inject the tilmicocin to a swine, and if it dies immediately, especially the farmer will definitely beat you. That's why one should know the mechanism and how the drug need to be used. So it is not recommended by IV route due to the increased incident of the collapse or the fatalities. And tilmicocin is not recommended in lactating dairy cattle as it reaches high concentration in milk up to 42 days. So please remember, this is the longest duration, 42 days. And that's why it is not indicated for the goats, especially sheep and goats. Many times it happens. And operators are advised to use extreme caution while administering tilmicocin to animals, because self-injection may cause the cardiovascular toxicity. Many times what happens, whenever you are going for the injection, because of the automutilation of the animal, there is a chance that the injection syringe may pierce in your arm or the chest. So need to be careful. Then it is indicated for the treatment of pneumonia associated with the Pasteurella, especially the Pasteurella multocida, etc. But very commonly it is used for the treatment of the mycoplasma, then the Actinobacillus species, and also the Pasteurella multocida, which causes the pneumonia or the hemorrhagic septicemia in case of the cattle. And it is effective against ovine mastitis caused by the Staphylococcus aureus, maybe MRSA also, then Mycoplasma agalactiae. This is a very rare phenomenon, Mycoplasma mastitis. And tilmicocin has been used for the prophylactic treatment of the cows. So they are using the entering the feedlots. So if they are entering the feedlots, so they may get the infection of the contaminated feed and water, hence they should be administered with the drug, especially the dose is cattle and sheep is 10 milligram subcutaneously, then it is need to be administered as the subcutaneous route, and it need to be administered at 72 hours. So 200 to 400 gram per ton of the feed need to be administered. So this is the structure of the telmicocin. Almost all it looks very similar to that of the other macrolide antibiotics. Same thing, this the macrolide ring and the other structures are very similar to that of the other macrolide antibiotics. Then spiramycin. So the spiramycin is a 16 member. Usually the erythromycins are 14 member. So it is having the 16 membered ring, and especially macrolide obtained from a strain of Streptomyces ambofaciens. So the spiramycin is obtained from the Streptomyces, the ambofaciens. So its antimicrobial spectrum and mechanism, etc., are very similar to that of the erythromycin. And like other these macrolides, it is useful especially in case of the gram-positive infections resistant to the penicillins. So it's also effective against the mycoplasma, especially the Mycoplasma gallisepticum, which causes the CRD. So in such case, this drug is administered especially in the drinking water. So it's available for both parenteral and oral administrations. So it can be administered as 25 milligram per kg orally once in a day. Whereas in case of the cattle or the ruminants, it is observed as it need to be administered 20 milligram per kg intramuscular only once in a day. That's how the spiramycin is indicated. Just for your reference, the structure is like this because it is a 16 membered ring, whereas the other macrolides, they have the 14 membered ring. So this is the 16 membered ring. The olindomycin and trolindomycin, they are related to the trolindomycin, especially the triacetyl olindomycin. So they are the commonly used antimicrobial agents. They belong to the macrolide antibiotics. They are synthesized from the strains of Streptomyces antibioticus. So remember that the olindomycin and the trolindomycin are obtained from the Streptomyces antibiotics. Okay, they both olindomycin and the trolindomycin have same bacterial antibacterial spectrum and a similar mechanism of action, especially in case of the particularly in the susceptible animals. So whereas they are less active than the erythromycin. In compared to the erythromycin, the action is less. You should not think that as the generation advances, they are having more and more efficacy. Not like that. The use of this macrolide antibiotic is limited to the treatment of very severe susceptible infections. So olindomycin or trolindomycin. So they are the reserved drugs. Only in the end they can be used. And olindomycin is also used as the feed additive, especially for the growth promoting action of the food animals. Especially in case of the beef cattle, this is commonly used. So this is the structure, how the olindomycin and trolindomycin look alike. Of course, these are all the structures of the different macrolide antibiotics like this erythromycin, then tylosin, and clarithromycin. And recently, this drug is getting a lot of popularity. That's the roxithromycin. And newer these macrolide antibiotics are the clarithromycin, is a semi-synthetic derivative of the erythromycin. It's substituted for the 14th-carbon monoxide. The antimicrobial spectrum and clinical use of the clarithromycin resemble to that of the erythromycin, whereas it is in addition to that of the erythromycin, it's also effective against the Helicobacter pylori. Yesterday we were discussing what's a Helicobacter pylori. It's a gram-negative bacilli. So it is highly resistant to most of the antibiotics, and it hides behind in or inside the ulcers and complicates the ulcers by its own endotoxins. So compared to the erythromycin, so it undergoes better absorption, possesses longer half-life, and shows increased intracellular uptake. So that's also very important. So because the bacteria like Brucella and Mycobacteria, they go inside the cell and they cause the disease. So in humans, it shows the saturation kinetics is half-life is prolonged from 3 to 6 hours at lower doses and 6 to 9 hours at higher doses. So in case of foals, the clarithromycin half-life is 4 to 8 hours. Then clarithromycin has an active 14 hydroxyl metabolite, which helps to prolong the action of antibiotic and also produces the significant post-antibiotic product. That's the POE. We have seen this in the general introduction, post-antibiotic effect. So the metabolites of the drug will be staying in the body and causes the significant post-antibiotic effect. So usually the when compared to the other drugs, the clarithromycin and its metabolites are mainly excreted through urine, and mild part is also excreted through bile. So clarithromycin may be used in the URT, upper respiratory tract infections, and lower respiratory tract infections, and also the otitis. So the treating the otitis is a very big tough subject, because many antibiotics, they will not reach the otitis interna and other places, whereas the sinusitis and skin infections due to the susceptible microorganisms. In foals, clarithromycin has been used for the treatment of the infections caused by the Rhodococcus equi in combination with the anti-tuberculosis drug, that's the rifamycin. So in addition, with the H2 receptor and these blockers like the ranitidine and famotidine and nizatidine, etc., the recent generations, and bismuth, clarithromycin used in the treatment of the Helicobacter pylori. So this is the common prescription in case of chronic gastritis. Many times in chronic gastritis also this is administered. The foals, it is administered as 7.5 milligram, and dogs and cat 5 to 10 milligram per kg orally. Then it is 2 times daily for a maximum of 5 days. And this is the structure of the clarithromycin. So you can see that the different, here the methyl group is there, and the ethyl group and the methyl alternatively it is present. Then just so this is not one. So roxithromycin is one of the potent antimicrobial agent that is very effective in the upper respiratory tract infections. If you are suffering from the sore throat, so this is one of the modern antibiotic that is prescribed by the most of the doctor. So it is a semi-synthetic macrolide antibiotic derived from the erythromycin. Just like clarithromycin, it is from the erythromycin, and containing N-oxine side chain and used alternatively to the erythromycin in the treatment of respiratory tract and the skin infections and the soft tissue and genital infections. So it is longer acting, more stable than the erythromycin, and when compared to the erythromycin and the other things, the side effects are less. So if the dog is having the cough, that's the chronic cough, then you can administer the drug 15 milligram per kg once daily for 5 days usually. This is the structure of the roxithromycin. Then the different structure activity relationships. So you can compare the different activities. This is the macrolide ring, which is very common in most of the antibiotics, especially the macrolides. So other macrolide antibiotics and several other older and newer macrolide antibiotics are available in the market and are occasionally used in case of the therapy. And these include the carbamazepine, then erythromycin, then flurithromycin, then jasomycin, then kitasmycin, then medicamycin, and the rosamycin is another antimicrobial drug. So all these are used in the human treatment and they are yet to come in the veterinary practice. So even though they come, they will be in the smaller animals like dogs and cats. The azolide antibiotics are subclass of the macrolide antibiotics, then which contain the nitrogen in the macrolide ring, and this imparts the different pharmacokinetic properties. Of course, these are also the macrolide antibiotics, but the separate class. So they have the semi-synthetically designed to overcome the limitations of the erythromycins and other macrolide antibiotics like the gastric acid liability, short half-life, and the narrow antimicrobial spectrum. So these are all having the narrow antibacterial spectrum. Then azithromycin is the important azolide. So azithromycin is used wisely in human practice and veterinary medicines, and the talathromycin is approved for veterinary practice only. And azithromycin is recently introduced azide macrolide antibiotic. It differs in the chemical structures from erythromycin in that the methyl substituted nitrogen is incorporated in the lactose ring. So there is a small difference in the structure activity relationships, and the due to having its 15 member ring, it's having 15 member, whereas the clarithromycin 16 and the erythromycin is 14. And azithromycin is having the it is taken as the separate class of antibiotics. It is called as the azolides, and the mechanism same. The mechanism of similar to that of the macrolide antibiotics. So it also binds with the 50S subunit. That's also in the P site, and the elongation of the chain will be inhibited by the azolide antibiotics. So here here also it is having the characteristic this macrolide ring followed by the different the structures, especially this thing. And azithromycin, of course, the same thing. You can see here the structure. The spectrum is antibacterial spectrum. It is especially active, less active against the gram-positive cocci, whereas the macrolides are highly active against the gram-positive cocci, especially the erythromycin, but it is more effective against the gram-negative bacteria, especially the Haemophilus influenza, which causes the influenza. And it has very good activity against the intracellular organisms, including the Chlamydia psittaci, which causes psittacosis in case of the birds, and also the toxoplasmosis in case of the cats, Toxoplasma gondii, and other things. So it is also effective against the Mycoplasma, especially the azithromycin resistance has been described, and it is endemic in many areas, and it is notably ineffective against the MRSA, methicillin resistance Staphylococcus aureus. We cannot treat. The plasma half-life of the erythromycin is very long, that is the 18 hours in horses and 30 hours in dogs and 35 hours in case of cats. And especially it is excreted through the bile without any unchanged form. The time is out. The kinetics. So azithromycin is absorbed orally when compared to the other thing. It's good. It's acid stable as usual. It has ability to concentrate in certain tissues like the respiratory tract, the leukocytes, and also the macrophages and fibroblasts of 100 to 2 times than that of the plasma. And intracellular stores of azithromycin in leukocytes and macrophages. That's also one of the important thing. To drug delivery will be directly in the infected tissue. So that is the important thing to be remembered in the erythromycin and also the azithromycin. The side effects as usual, it's less common. It is generally well tolerated with few GI signs like the vomition and sometimes the abdominal cramps and pain and nervousness and dermatological reactions may be seen. That's the allergies. And the caution should be exhibited when azithromycin is used, especially in case of the horses. And especially it is interact with hepatic macrosomal enzymes. It need to be used, especially it cautions and shows the lesser drug interaction with that of the erythromycin. Clinical use is very similar to the that of the erythromycin, upper respiratory tract infections, especially the bronchitis, pharyngitis, and pneumonia, and also the genital tract infections because it is effective against the Haemophilus. And the skin and soft tissue infections is also another important. It is very effective against the intracellular microorganisms because of its ability to concentrate in the leukocytes. And the azithromycin is commonly administered like the capsules, tablets, and oral preparations. No injection is available. So injection is available for intravenous only, and 1% ophthalmic solution is also available. And 1 gram packets are also available for the mixing in the water, especially in case of poultry can be used. So the dose of dogs and cats 5 to 10 milligram, foals 10 milligram, and the cows 30 milligram per kg once a day for 7 days. And tolithromycin is also having the similar property, and the thing is it is effective against the antibiotics, which are the particularly so this is the structure of tolithromycin. Then tomorrow we will deal with the ketalide antibiotics and the remaining type of the drugs. Thank you for staying on.